When I think of the Civil Rights era and the time around World War II, baseball and the name Jackie Robinson is not the first thing that comes to mind. Baseball and other leisure activities were a very important part of society during these hard times. It's no wonder that Robinson's entry into Major League Baseball had a momentous impact on the anti-racist struggle in the U.S. It even had an important effect on U.S. imperialism's political status on the world stage. Black soldiers were returning home after having risked their lives abroad in the war. They were coming back to racism and segregation in the North as well as the South. The U.S. could not credibly portray itself as leader of the free world while being perceived as the open oppressor of such large portion of its own population. Something had to be done. The problem was that the leaders of the U.S. imperialism found that most of their class was so racist that it had no inclination to support integration at any level. Baseball became the arena where this struggle took center stage. Sports and leisure were usually only activities that were afforded to the upper class, with baseball leading the pack as a national pastime. Even though rights for blacks had been being fought for since before the Civil War, the period between 1950 and 1960 could be considered the height of the civil rights movement. Robinson and his nonviolent stance found himself right in the middle of this era. After World War II, many other factors contributed to the fight for equality for blacks, but many saw Robinson as a leading force towards these rights. When Jackie Robinson was drafted by the Brooklyn Dodgers, he broke a segregation barrier that had been in place since around the 1880s. When people heard of a black man being brought to the Dodgers, the stadiums filled and people flocked for miles around to see a black man play in a white baseball league. Robinson broke many records, and for the first several years remained silent on his stance on discrimination and segregation. Jackie Robinson is known for some great accomplishments in baseball. He was named Rookie of the Year, a six-time All-Star, and eventually his famous jersey number 42 was retired by all MLB teams. Despite being a great baseball player, Jackie saw himself as a hope and a voice for all blacks against discrimination and segregation. After Robinson retired from baseball in 1957, his fight for equal rights took a more political platform. Robinson identified himself as a political independent, and even with deteriorating health, was not afraid to stand up for what he was fighting for. Robinson pushed forward and had many more firsts for blacks. Robinson was not just about proving he could do these things as a black man. He was a voice and was paving the way for people to respect blacks. He gave blacks and whites alike the courage to stand up for what they believe is right and not worry about what others think. He quickly became a black man that people respected and stood up for. To list all of Jackie Robinson's accomplishments and firsts in baseball and life, fill pages of text, and just reading what Jackie Robinson did for baseball does not do his life justice, but to understand what Jackie Robinson did for black rights is. He was a courageous man who stood up for what he believed in, and he paved the way for civil rights for blacks all the way to his death and beyond. Today, even after his death, Robinson is still being recognized and awarded with medals and being acknowledged for his accomplishments, not only in baseball, but in the things he did for the civil rights movement.